Hi again, everyone. So I'm just going over the second worksheet now. It's called Understanding the Periodic Table. Okay, so for this one, first question asks, says, what are the vertical columns on the periodic table called? So we call these vertical columns like that. We call these groups. So this right here, the answer is going to be groups. Right, this worksheet is going to be on the kind of labeling the periodic table. Okay. Next, it says what are the horizontal columns, which would be rows, on the periodic table called. So a horizontal row on the periodic table, like this row or like this row, these are called periods. All right. Next is what group number are the alkali metals located in? So the alkali metals are going to be this first group metals, and I should not include hydrogen. Hydrogen is not a metal. We consider hydrogen a non-metal, but it's these metals right here. So everything group one except hydrogen is what we call an alkali metal. And then next it's asking which or where are the alkali earth metals located. The alkali earth metals are located in the second group or second column. So just be, go through. Just be kind of cognizant that alkali metals and alkaline earth metals are different, right? The alkaline with an N, earth metals are group 2, alkali metals with no earth or N are in group 1. All right, next it says, what are the elements in group 17 called? So in group 17 over here, we refer to these as the halogens. So the halogens are special in that, as we'll learn kind of later, they have 7 valence electrons, gives them some special properties. So 6 says, what are the elements in group 18 called? The elements in group 18, the very last row, or sorry, my bad, column over here, these are called the noble gases. So the noble gases have some special properties, right? Because they have 8 valence electrons, which we'll get into later, but they have a full octet, which means they don't really react with stuff. So you'll never really see any reactions with noble gases. Write the symbol or a name for the following elements. So lithium, right? For this, we kind of just have to look around. So if you're looking around at the periodic table, typically the name on the symbol on the periodic table has to do with the first few letters of the name or the first letter. So lithium is right here, Li. This isn't always true, right? We have things like iron, which are Fe, and tin, which is Sn, and lead, that's Pb, but it's a good way to kind of start. So Li is lithium, gold. This is one of the special ones. So gold, if you're looking for a GO on the table, you're not going to find it. So you have to actually look for the name gold, and it's AU. It is right here, right? You kind of, over time, you just get acclimated to the different elements and what their names are. It doesn't come immediately. So that is gold, AU. Next, we have PB, which I did say was lead. So that is, PB is the symbol, lead is the name. And then we have, and I also said this one, Fe is iron. So you kind of have to look around for the names and matching the symbols sometimes, right? Most of them usually have the first few letters, first 2 letters kind of match up, but not always. All right, 8 says, fill in the blanks for the following statements. Metals are usually blank at room temperature. So out of our choices, it's going to be solids. So metal, with the exception of mercury, is pretty much solid at room temperature. Pretty much, I think all of them except for mercury are solid at room temperature. So they're not going to be liquids, they're not going to be gases, they're not going to be plasmas. They're going to be solids. B says blank are elements that may be gaseous, liquid, or solid at room temperature. These are nonmetals. So nonmetals can be all of the above, except for plasma at room temperature. And it depends on what kind of uh, atoms you have, right, in your non-metal compound. So if you have certain atoms, right, in a certain amount, in certain kind of combinations with the bond, it'll change whether it's a solid, liquid, or gas. And we'll get to that in chapter 5 with intermolecular forces and how that can affect the phase that something is in, whether it's a solid, liquid, or gas. C says nonmetals are blank conductors of heat or electricity. They are poor conductors of heat and electricity. So nonmetals aren't very good at conducting it. That's just kind of what it is. So metals are an effective conductor of heat and electricity. Right? That's why we use pans that are made out of metal, not made out of other things like wood or other stuff like that, other non-metal things. Metals are such a good conductor of heat electricity, and that's why you see them pretty much everywhere, in wires and all sorts of other things. E says elements with properties that do not fall in either the metal category or non-metal category. These are called metalloids. So very quickly, something that I should cover, which actually I'll come back. I'm going to show you on the periodic table where the metalloids would be. And then this one is metals. So metals have a shiny appearance. So on the periodic table, where will we find these nonmetals and metalloids? These nonmetals, if I kind of draw a staircase starting at the carbon like that, these are the nonmetals, right? You can see that the halogens are included, but this isn't the nonmetal section of the periodic table. The metalloids follow this kind of staircase. It's kind of the ones in between. So the most common ones that you'll see are boron and arsenic, or arsenic, sorry, boron and silicon, but those are your metalloids. Okay, now we can go down here. It says use the periodic table to fill in the chart below. So oxygen has a symbol of O. It's in the non-metal section. It's in group number 6, right? And check your periodic table. Sorry, 16. You can see it all the way on the right, right? It's kind of 2 columns, 2 groups from the very right of the periodic table. So it's in group 16. Show it very quick. It's right here, 16. There you go. The period number, it's in the second period or in the second row. And this is a non-metal, right? It's in that kind of little staircase box that I made. Next, now we're starting with P. So P, you'll also find in the non-metal section, right? You kind of just gotta go hunting for these to find them. So on the top right, I think it's down and to the left from oxygen. So 1 down and 1 to the left. So it's going to be in group number 15 and period number 3. This is a non-metal, as I said. And that's it. All right, next is metalloid. So it's a metalloid, it's in group number 13. So the only metalloid in group 13 is this boron, right? Aluminum is a metal. So boron is a metalloid right here. It's on the other side of that staircase, like right next to it. Oops, no, all my stuff. There we go. Whole stuff is moving around. So this is boron. The symbol is a B. It's in period number 2, and it's a metalloid. Next, we have xenon. So the symbol for xenon is Xe. This is actually in the noble gas section. Um, and so noble gases we also define as nonmetals, but we typically refer to them just as noble gases. So it is a nonmetal though. Next is the group number. It's in group number 18, right over here. Next we have radon. Over here, it's in period number 6, and it's a non-metal. Right, if you're looking at the table, 6th period is this one right here, starting with cesium, and radon is the only non-metal or noble gas. Is how we would usually refer to it in that row. So I should actually extend my staircase a little bit to be like that, and that includes our noble gases for the non-metals, and it goes up to helium. All right, next, or the symbol for radon is going to be Rn, right? Looking at the periodic table, and the group number is 18. Iron, I said, is Fe. If you look at the group number, it's in the 8th group right here, 8th column. This is in the 4th row, so in the 4th period. That's an 8. That's a 4. And last we have lead for Pb, and this is in group number 14, period number 6, and it's a metal. Oops, and I forgot to name iron. Iron is also a metal, as we all know. And so that's it for this worksheet. Just get a little more familiar with the periodic table, and I will keep on going into the next worksheets.